Welcome to Telefox. Today we will be teaching you how to configure a Netgear business switch. It's an 8-port switch and the model is GS108T. So let's begin. So the first step, we want to plug in our computer directly into port 1, and then we need to start configuring the IP address to pick up the appropriate IP address. So after we have that plugged in, we go over to Control Panel and we click on Network and Share Settings, and we want to change the network adapter for, I think it's 77. Let's see. Okay, as we could see, 77 pops up, and we need to configure this by right-clicking it and clicking on Properties. And then from here we need to enter in some basic credential information. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up the settings. Give me one moment. Let's see. Okay, so we go over here, make sure that IPv6 is disabled, of course, and we double click on Internet Protocol version 4. From here, we configure to have the following IP address: 192.168.0.33, default subnet mask, and then we want 192.168.0, and I think it's like 153. Let me just double check that really quick. Okay, so it's IP address of 192.168.0.239. Click on yes, it's fine. And now, hypothetically, we should be able to access the IP address of the switch. So I will enter that over here. Okay, we have the IP address entered, so we should be able to get to the page. And then from here we want to click on Advanced and then click on Proceed. Okay, so now we want to enter in the default password, and that is probably listed somewhere on this form. Let's see. Yeah, the default password is password. We click on Login, and we let it do its thing. This device is currently set to be managed through the web browser interface from the local LAN. You can activate the Insight Cloud Management, which allows you to manage the device through the Netgear Insight mobile app or Insight Cloud portal for remote control. We won't do that, so we just click on OK. And as you could see, we have everything here listed. So what we need to do is start with the configuration process, and as you can see, there's a lot of settings in the GUI that could enhance the security and the capability to deliver traffic in a certain way on the switch. So let's start the configuration process. On the main system page, we're at management here, so let's click on that. And we want management mode to be local LAN only. That's good. We could give it a system name, so we could do Netgear switch, and system location CA, and system contact admin. And let's go ahead and apply. Then from here we could also update, so let's go ahead and click on the update button and see what happens. Okay, it looks like nothing happens when we click on update. So now from here we want to go to system CPU status. This shows you the status of the CPU and how hard it's working. You can see the CPU threshold as well. So from here we could actually assign certain values, it looks like, certain values to the CPU. not change anything here, but this basically allows you to set a threshold to when it gets to 99, it will alert or do something that makes the performance better. So we won't change that yet. We will definitely come back to that. Okay, so IP configuration. What we want to do is give it the appropriate IP address that will be on our network. So the management VLAN we will assign as 1, that's fine. For now, what we want to do is static IP address. Okay. And we will assign it of 10.0.0.0.99. Subnet mask needs to be 255.255.240. This is for my network, specifically only for my network. Your network may have a different subnet mask and a different IP, so just make note of that. Then the default gateway. Let's go ahead and click on apply. Okay, so now we cannot access it by the IP address of its default IP address, so we need to change our network status to reflect the appropriate network connection. So we go back over to control panel and we open up the network and sharing settings. Then we click on change adapter settings, or your adapter should be listed. We want to change adapter Ethernet to 77, so we go to properties. And then we go to Internet Protocol version 4, double click it, and now from here we want 10.0.33 is fine. Then 10.0. And I think we selected 99. Click OK. Yes, and we will enter in the new IP address over here. Okay, we're back at the web page, so we go ahead and proceed and open up that web page. We of course need to sign back in, so we go ahead and do that in just a moment. So yeah, we log in back with the password and we click enter. And we're back on the configuration page, that's good. And config agent, discovery agent, they're working. Everything is set appropriately. So let's go back over to IP configuration, and that's good, everything looks good. So let's go to IPv6 and we want to disable all of that. So disable admin mode, disable this, and we don't want internet version 6 on, so we click on apply. Okay, next we go to IPv6 Network Neighbor, and there is nothing to do here, so that's fine. Then we go to the SNTP server configuration. So we will leave it default, that's perfectly fine, or we could assign a network. But what we will do is keep it at the default. And that looks good. So next we go over here to SNTP server configuration, and let's see, what can we do with this? If we highlight this, we can delete them or add certain servers. So let's see, can we cannot add a server. Okay, yeah, so you could add a new server right here. So say if you had another server on the network that was delivering time, you would go ahead and enter in that IP here. You would enter in the port number, and then you could enter in the priority as 4 and 4. and then you click on add. Okay, so you could only add 3 at a time. So yeah, like I said, we'll just keep this default since there's already NTP servers. But if you had 3 of your own NTP servers that deployed either on a Windows device or a Linux device, you would be able to add that information here. So next we go to daylight savings configuration, and let's go ahead and do reoccurring United States. And actually, you know what? We will leave this disabled. It's perfectly fine. Next is auto DOS mode, which prevents a denial of service. So we click on enable and click apply. Then we go to denial of service configuration. Here we could add the specific settings here. So we want to enable all, and go ahead and click on apply. You can configure the numbers to a specific criteria, but for this we will keep as default. Then we go over to DNS. We have enabled DNS, and we can give it a name of Telefox Corp. .local. And we could also add the DNS server. So if we had DNS server, we would enter in the information here. So as you can see, we have 10.0.0.2 for one of the DNS servers that we created before. And we click on add. And then go back over here. Type of Telefox Corp HQ.local. And then click on apply. Okay, now everything's configured for the DNS server. So we go over to the host configuration, and we can give it a host name and a specific address. So we won't change this here, but essentially you'd be able to enter in the information. So pretty self-explanatory. Next we want to go to green Ethernet. Click on that. And this is auto power down mode and EEE mode. Let's go ahead and enable that so we can save some power on the switch. If it's not being used or any of the ports aren't being used, then you could go ahead and have those ports shut down. Okay. So from here we could auto power down mode. So for port 1 we don't want that. We want that disabled, but the rest of them we want enabled. The reason why is because if this port goes down, we won't be able to do some administration to the switch if we needed to. We do that one more time. Enable, apply. Okay, so I think we need to enable that somehow, but it won't enable. So we might just come back to this, but yeah, that's basically to get your switch to consume less power when it's not being used. So we went back into the time and daylight savings configuration to give it an offset of reoccurring in the United States. PST is the zone, and then the offset we want to have an hour. So that would be 60 minutes. You click on 60, and then you click on apply. Okay, there you go. So as you can see, it will begin in March, and then it will end in November. And the offset is 60 minutes. So that's configured properly. So if we go back over to green Ethernet, you do want to do not touch this, because essentially this will lock you out of the switch if you click on enable. That's basically what happened to me. So take note of that. You don't want that enabled. So we won't actually touch the green interface Ethernet configuration. So let's go back over to device view. Okay, so in device view, it gives you an active connection of any ports. So if all your ports are active, you would see the connection status here. Okay, well then we have the simple network management protocol. We could have a management string along with some of the information, access mode, status. So we won't be using this because we don't have the SNMP yet deployed. However, we wouldn't use version 1 or 2 because it's insecure. We would actually use version 3. And we basically would enter in the encryption key here, and then you would click on apply, and then it would be configured. We will come back to this in a later video. So next is LLDP. This is, let's see, what is this protocol? It's a link layer discovery protocol. It's a layer 2 network discovery protocol that allows devices to advertise device information directly to their connection peers and neighbors. It's best to practice to enable LLDP globally to standardize network topology. Okay. So we won't be changing this. Let's go to basics here. What does basics have? Okay, so we will leave it default. We don't need to change these necessarily. So that's good. And then we go to advanced. And let's see. Let's do notification enable. Let's see, how do we do this? So we can apply it. That's interesting. Should be able to change it hypothetically. Okay, there you go. So it did work for one, so we just have to do it one at a time, and it looks like. Okay, so now that's all enabled for notifications. That's good. Next we go to the policy, and these will be displaying all the policies. We don't actually have any policies set, so that's perfectly fine. Then we go to port settings. For all the ports, we might want to extend that, so let's click on apply and do that for each one. And this will take some time, so we'll go ahead and go through that process one by one. Okay, so from here we could assign the specific port description. We don't need to do that. System capability, so this part will probably be blocked in the video. We go next to neighbor information, and there's nothing there, but this will have basically all the connection types and how close each connection is. Okay, so from here we want to enable DHCP snooping mode. That's good. Enable that. And we want to enable MAC address validation. Alright. We have VLAN configuration here. Let's go ahead and enable for all. So enable, apply. Okay, that's good. Next we go to interface configuration and DHCP snooping interface configuration. We could set the rate to 100 for all of them. So let's go like that. Click over here, trust mode, enable, invalid packets, enable. Put this for 100 and seconds. Let's do 10 seconds and click on apply. Alright, we got that configured. That's good. Next we go to binding. So we could bind certain MAC addresses, so that way we know what MAC addresses are which. This prevents any kind of devices coming onto the network and trying to mess with the network, essentially. So let's go to persistent configuration. And local, that's fine. Remote file. File name, that's fine. Right, that's fine. Okay, so that's good. Then we go back over here. Oh. So this is link aggregation. We don't have that enabled, it looks like. And then all. That's the system settings. We went through most of them. Next we will go to the switch settings. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to switching. And frame size, we want to go ahead and we will change it to 10,000. So let's do 8,000 frame size. It's a jumbo frame. Click on apply. And from here we could configure, so we want the G1, which is the administrator port, to be the description admin. We want auto negotiation, speed auto, that's good. That's good. Flow control, we want symmetric. Actually, let's do asymmetric. And then we click on apply. Okay, that's good. So now we select all ports except G1, and we just enable asymmetric and click on apply. Okay, that's good. Now we could go to link aggregation. So from here we could, let's see, bring up help really quick. Lag, so this is yeah, this is link aggregation, definitely. So for all these channels, we want only channel 1 to be enabled, the rest we want disabled for admin mode. And okay, that's good. Click on enable for STP mode. Go back over here. So STP mode selectively sets link to standby mode to prevent loops. In standby mode, these links temporarily stop transferring data. So we want the system trunking protocol or the spanning tree protocol enabled on all ports, so that way it doesn't have a loop. Alright, let's click on here, enable. Hash mode, we will go ahead and keep it default source destination MAC and the incoming address. And we have a bunch of different options here. Then we want to, you can give it a description and a name for each link aggregation. Okay, so yeah, here we go. Let's do this. Let's do 7. Go over here, what is this? So we want 7 and 8 to be linked. Okay, so we go into configuration of lag. We go over here and we click these two and we click on lag type, LACP. And then we click on apply. I already did that, so you can see it's enabled right here. LACP, LACP. Then we go to lag membership and we double click on, here we go. So if we highlight 7 or 8, so on channel 7 we have 7 and 8, and then on 8 we could actually have 5 and 6. Then we could click on apply. So you could add up to 8 link aggregations. There is an advanced setting here, and you could change like the priority, and you could also change the port configuration. Next we will go to VLAN. This is the most important part of a switch if you're going to have a network segmented, so that way different networks can't communicate to each other. And what we do is we click on VLAN configuration, we enter an ID, and then we click on add. Alright. And from here you could change some settings. So let's see, VLAN membership for 1. So let's go to 3. Okay, so you could tag it, untag it, or make it a non-member. We have 33, and we want to make 2 untagged and a part of that. So you click apply, and this is how you would create your VLANs. So let's go back over here. Let's go ahead and create 44. We'll add 55. We'll add 66. 22. And these are all based off of port numbers essentially. 77. And 88. And then from there we go to membership. 1, we actually want no one on that network, so we untag everyone. We want to make all this a non-member. The reason why is we only want port 1 to have administrator rights. Oops, administrator rights. So go ahead and click on apply. There you go. Okay, and let's go to 22. That would be for 2, right? Yeah. Let's go back over here and click on apply. And we go to 44. Do the same thing. So for 4, we untag. And we do that for each number. So 5, untag, apply. 66, 6, untag, apply. And this just means that each port is going to be on its own VLAN, ensuring that the network is secure. Click on apply, and then 8. With a larger switch, you would group these ports, so you would have like 4 ports for the certain department, 8 ports for another department, but this is only an 8-port switch. But the principle could still be applied, the concept could still be applied to a larger switch that has more ports. 3. Okay, so for 22, we'll go ahead and do 3, untag, and apply. And there you go, you have your VLANs all set. Go to VLAN status, and 1 is the default. That's good, that's for admin. And as you can see, here's the port members for each group. Then we could do port configuration. So they're all on PVID 1. You want to change that. So we change this to 33. VLAN only. Enable. And port priority, we won't give it a priority. And then we click on apply. Alright, so there you go. You can add a tag, it looks like. but we will keep that the same, and the principle is the same for all of these. So we just basically go right here, VLAN only, enable, oops, click this, VLAN only, enable, and apply. And we do that for all of these. Apply. And 55, we do VLAN only. As you can see, this is basically the same setting for all of them except port 1. 66, VLAN only, enable, apply. 77, VLAN, enable, apply. And last but not least, 88, VLAN only, enable, apply. You could set the port priority. We won't necessarily have to do that. We could. So we could go unselect 1 and go like port priority 3. Or you could organize it where each port has a certain priority. We won't do that, but if you had like a certain system that has phone systems, you want to probably put that as priority 1. If you had some like servers, web servers, put that as like priority 2 or whatnot. So just take note of that. And then we change one more thing. So admin all, that's fine, and enable, and click on apply. Okay, there you go. Then we could do MAC-based VLANing. We won't have to do that. We do protocol-based VLANing. We won't have to do that. This is protocol-based VLANing, which we won't do because I think you have to create a group name. Yeah, you have to create groups first. Voice configuration. We could change a certain setting. So voice VLAN we won't want to change, but essentially, yeah, you could change the settings to enable authentication. So if we had a phone system on 6 and 5, we go to VLAN ID, enable, and give it a value of 1, and then you click on apply. And as you can see, the VLAN, it's basically saying that it can't add. So that's fine. And then there's some other deeper configurations. You got the GARP switching protocol, and also for switch configuration. So we could enable that if we wanted to. And then go over here, and then we select all, enable. We won't do it for the administrator console here, but we'll do it for all the other ports. Click on apply, and now it's all enabled. So that's VLANing. You have also Auto-VoIP. We don't have a VoIP system on this switch, so we won't even touch this. Essentially, you could really prioritize your traffic to make sure that your VoIP, your voice over IP system, is working properly. So inside of the STP basic configuration, we'll go over here, and what we want to do is we want to enable and click on MS STP. Configuration revision level we won't change, and we will enable this and click on apply. Okay, and then the information is designated. We could go to advanced and create an advanced configuration. Alright. So let's go ahead and click on this. We want to enable all of them. Enable. Enable. Let's go ahead and not touch this port for now. Enable, enable. Okay, that's good. Path cost we won't change, that's perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and click on apply. Then from here we could assign certain priorities. So we could assign it a priority of 126, apply. Okay, that's good. And you could change the path cost as well. We won't do that. And we want to enable for 1, enable, and then click on apply. So as you can see, yeah, you can do some real granular configuration settings with the switch to ensure that your network is configured the way you like it to. You could change this. We won't change that as well. And there we go. So that's spanning tree protocol. I think we will end it here. And next we will pick up on switching, multicasting, and a bunch of different settings that will improve your switch's security. If you like this video, please like, and don't hesitate to contact TeleFox for all your consulting needs. You have a good afternoon.